Hi, everyone. My name's Marguerite Young. I'm running for re-election to East Bay Mud Ward 3, which covers in West County, El Sobrante, uh, parts of Pinole, and parts of Richmond, as well as all of the city of Orinda and the town of Moraga. Um, that might seem small for East Bay Mud. It is. I also jump over the hill and have actually 70% of my ward in Alameda County in Oakland and Piedmont. Pictured behind me is the McCullummy River, which is my source of inspiration for joining this board 12 years ago. I'm a whitewater kayaker and rafter. I've spent my career working on water policy, environmental, and climate issues. So it was a natural fit, and I love every minute of it. Being able to protect um, from our headwaters all the way to the bay. And I hope that I can count on your support again.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Um, the
I
first
cannot really see the time on the timer at all. So I don't know if it's
little,
my
It's
view or what,
unfortunately
but
like the closest, the
it,
best we have is on my screen. It pops up as a little pop-up.
gotcha.
Um,
Okay. That's
I
okay.
also
I
wanted to,
will do my own.
yeah. And as well, I'll also let you know that we'll be putting the questions into the chat
Okay.
if that helps.
okay. So, what are your top three priorities if elected?
My top three priorities will continue to be what they have been. Making sure that our water is clean, safe, and affordable 24/7, 365. Taking action on climate and being a leader on climate action and climate resilience, being prepared for the climate threats that we cannot avoid. And which includes being prepared for drought and fires and all the rest. And third, I would say, third is tough. I've got a few things vying for third place. So I'll have to say, since climate action kind of covers environmental stewardship, that I would add equity and making sure that our workers are and the communities that we serve are being treated in a way that gives everyone a shot and looks to create and help communities thrive.
Okay, great. So, Jamin, you have the next question.
How would you work with others to support the district priorities?
I've had the opportunity to do that for the past 12 years. I've been president twice. It's a rotating action. With my fellow board members, we have done lots of things together, starting with, again, the picture behind me, building support for permanent protection of the McCullummy River as a state wild and scenic river, um, moving forward our customer assistance program and expanding that dramatically over the course of my tenure, replacing our aging infrastructure, which would be my number three priority. If I were back on the last question, we have tripled the number of miles of pipeline that we were replacing. If you were around when I ran in 20, the first time, you know that I was all about it taking 400 years to replace all our pipes, and we're down to like 100 years now, which is still, we still have some work to do, but we've also instituted some robust measures to make sure we're placing the right pipe at the right time. And then this past year, which has been pretty challenging, actually, from a lot of respects, while we had COVID, that was, I was president during COVID and keeping our board together and moving forward during that time and our agency. Um, and then this past year worked with all of our outgoing, or the past 2 years ago, under my leadership, we created a new governance manual from our with the input of all of our outgoing board members to participate in to help guide the new board members coming in. For those of you not familiar, when I was elected 12 years ago, I was the new kid on the block. My nearest colleague had 2 terms ahead of me, and there were people with 5 terms serving. So we now have a refreshed board, and they are amazing, and I love working with them.
Hey, Raphael. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Was it me?
Nope,
Oh,
Raphael.
No, it's
Raphael.
me. I just needed to unmute.
Okay.
So, what is the district's plan to update and maintain the infrastructure and the manner in which it will be funded?
So our plan for infrastructure is goes out 30 years. We have 4,800 miles of pipe in the ground. We have hundreds of facilities that pump and store water within the district, including our terminal reservoirs at Briones, San Pablo, Lafayette, and there's a couple of others. And then upstream at Pardee and Comanche, where we, that's where we accept our snowmelt from the McCollum and the Comanche. So there is a lot of infrastructure. We spend, really about 70% of our budget is on capital and infrastructure renewal. So it is it's a big driver of everything that we do. We have during the period when our interest rates were very low, we did a lot of bond funding. EBMUD is a AAA rated agency. We are the only AAA rated water agency in the state of California. And that helps us get great interest rates. And at the same time, we recognize that as rates have gone up and as our program for infrastructure renewal, continues, that we want to be borrowing less. And there's a plan to do that, to reduce the amount that we rely on bonds. But, we're a 100-year-old agency, and our infrastructure is aging, and it doesn't have to get replaced very often. But when it does, it's an ongoing process. So that is why you see rate increases. It's mostly having to do with that infrastructure renewal.
Okay, next question is from me. What policy should the water district adopt to meet the challenges, the challenge of drought?
So we have done, I hope we're looking at a non-drought year coming up with El Nino. Hopefully not too much of a non-drought, because that creates just as much chaos as drought does in some ways. We have since I was elected in the midst of a major 3-year drought, and have served through another drought. In that time, we have gone from having basically a 3-year supply to get us through to a 4-year supply. So we can get through 4 years of drought, which would be an unprecedented level of drought. We have our Freeport facility capable of taking transfer water from sources upstream, as well as our American River entitlement, which we often actually don't get to take during drought. It's supposed to be drought supply, but doesn't end up being that way. But we make sure that those transfers are done in an environmentally sensitive way. So that means that we don't make contracts for transfer water unless that water has already served a fisheries or other environmental benefit before we capture it. That is our, sort of protection mechanism. We are looking at groundwater. We have a pilot project that just completed for groundwater in the San Joaquin Valley, which does double duty. It gives us this year, if we're not ready to start the big project yet, but if El Nino would help recharge, or other high water years would help recharge groundwater in the San Joaquin, northern San Joaquin Valley that we would then have access to during drought. So it addresses groundwater overdraft in the valley as well as providing us some supply reliability.
Okay.
Conservation, reuse, we're looking at long-term potable reuse or what's called one water, pure water, and thinking about how to make that part of our portfolio. So I could talk about water conservation and drought reliability for way
Okay.
more than 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Jamin.
What is the 5-year plan for the district?
The 5-year plan for the district. Well, I talked about our capital improvement plan. That's big. By the end of 5 years from now, we will have met our carbon neutrality goal. We will be at net zero carbon emissions by 2030. So that's a big one. Our ongoing work around affordability is key, and finding ways to increase the number of customers that we can assist because we can't use rate revenue. So we have to look for other ways to make money to fund that. That also leads us to work that we're doing at the state level to create a statewide low income rate assistance program. We've been at that for 5 years. I suspect that it might be another 5 years before we actually get that across the finish line. And then, as I said, our underlying work around equity is, that's a, the end in mind is that we passed a resolution after George Floyd was murdered to become an anti-racist organization. That is not a 5-year undertaking. Looking at the systemic issues that are embedded in what we do and how we do it and how we have done it, and changing that is an intensive process that I can't lie. There is resistance to it from some quarters about changing the way we do things. So that's another one. And then the last thing I would put in there is that when I ran last time, I said that I really wanted to get a project labor agreement done. And I've worked really hard over the last 4 years to make that happen. Unfortunately, I'm just one person, and others have taken part. We are really close. So over these next 5 years, we will be implementing our first project labor agreement. And I want to make sure that that's successful.
Okay, next question is Raphael.
What is your position on the current groundwater sustainability plan being discussed in the district?
All for it. I don't have a lot more to say about that. I mean, we have a local groundwater basin that we're the groundwater, I think it's called groundwater master for. Most of that groundwater basin is not actually in my ward, so it is not an issue that I have paid close attention to. We had a project, or we have a project in the groundwater basin, the Bayside project, that is right now on hold due to some, I would say, political issues associated with that. And then, as I mentioned, we have the North San Joaquin, what's called the Dream Project, which is about addressing groundwater overdraft and groundwater recharge with those water agencies in that part of agricultural water agencies in that part of the valley.
Okay, so I have the next question, and it is, what is your position on water cutoffs for customers?
I am very proud to say that after my colleague Doug Linney and I pushing for this, again, for most of my first and second term, when COVID hit, we immediately stopped shutoffs prior to when the governor ordered it. and went back to January. And as we were interviewing for a new general manager, I was the decision got made for me when the first thing that Clifford Chan indicated that he would do is that he would make the shutoffs permanent. Or I'm sorry, make the shutoff ban permanent. So we do not shut off anybody's water. We do get down to the point of flow restrictors, and we're trying to figure it out. But what we found over the course of these last several years after COVID, after most water agencies just either shut people off or force them to pay, that we work to really create an arrearage program to help people get back on track, put as many people on our customer assistance plan as possible. And our arrearages are now close to, they are not as low, but they are close to what they were before the shutoff ban was put in place. So I'm very proud of that. I think it's the right thing to do. The human right to water is something that I first began working on in 1997 when I was at Clean Water Action. And Clean Water Action, I've been on the board of for decades. Was one of the coalition leads that put that in place, and I couldn't be prouder of that work.
Okay, thank you. Jamin, you're next.
This is a compound question, so
how are we doing on time? Again, because I can't see the timer, and I forgot to press start. What?
We're doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't worry about it then.
We only have 3 more questions.
Okay.
All right. But this is a compound question, and it's going to be in the chat.
Okay.
How do you propose to defend the Delta ecosystem against development plans? What is your stance on Northern California resources being delivered to Southern California?
Okay, so I've got what I think is a 2-part question there. One is about environmental sustainability in the Delta, and then the other is the age-old Northern California water to Southern California. So let me start with the first one. And again, I'm going to go back to my background. My first paid job as an environmental advocate was knocking on doors to stop the peripheral canal in 1981 and 82. At that time, we beat all the naysayers who said you could never do it, and overwhelmingly defeated that Delta project. And as part of that, I learned a lot about water in California. And it's one thing to suggest that all the water goes to Southern California. That's not actually correct. 80% of the water goes to agriculture in the state, in most of that in the Central Valley. Southern California, for its part, has done as much or more to reduce water use and do water conservation as they can stand up to almost any agency in Northern California, and they do better than a lot of them actually, that are still kind of behind the curve. We are one state. We have 40 million plus people. Everybody just has a right to clean, safe water, and we're not going to move people around to where the water is. It's just sort of the geography that we were, all of us at least, and the system that all of us were born with. So we need to make the best of it. Now, we who drink East Bay mud water are very fortunate to have, in some ways, our own private supply. We have an aqueduct across the Delta, 3 of them actually, to deliver our water, just like San Francisco does with Tuolumne. That privileged position comes with responsibilities to protect the fisheries of the Mokelumne. And again, this is an area where I believe we have done an outstanding job. We produce 19% of the commercially caught salmon, while accounting for only 3% of
We do
the
want to
waters, right?
sorry to cut you off, but we're about a minute
Oh,
almost
okay.
running
Well, you
down.
got me on a hop. You should have asked that question. Well, I don't know if you should have asked that question first, because
How
I could
much
have
time
talked
do
about
you
that for
have?
a long time too. But
We've just got 2 more questions.
okay.
Fine. So she
Oh,
can,
I'm sorry. We are wrapping up on we really are wrapping up on the edge of things.
Okay.
okay. So Raphael,
So on to my next question then. What will you do to guarantee water quality in your district?
We fortunately, I don't have to do much to guarantee water quality in our district. We have some of the best water in the country, and a team of people that stop at nothing to make sure that everything that comes out of the tap is clean and safe and tastes as good as it can, given whatever the conditions are. And sometimes the conditions, make the water not taste as great, but we're spoiled. So all of it is always safe. We have a great track record on that.
Great.
okay, Marguerite, this is your last question, and then your closing statement. So, what is your position on the tiered rate structure and that is currently in place that promotes water conservation?
Well, I wish we had the ability to have what I would call tier zero, where a lower rate is charged for a basic sort of human right to water amount plus the fixed charge. Um, and unfortunately, Prop 218 makes it incredibly challenging to do more than what we have done. I support the tiered rate structure. Um, and boy, I would love to go to full volumetric, but it's not in the cards. So yeah, I'll leave it at that since we're low on time.
Okay,
Another lengthy topic.
great. More to chat about. So with that, we've concluded our questions. So now it's your opportunity. You have 1 minute, a minute and a half, correct, to
Correct.
close.
Okay. I won't even take that long. I think I've covered almost everything that I care about and that I've done over the course of my tenure. My website is youngforwater.org. It's got more of me and more of my record there, and I encourage you all to take a peek at that. And I will do, as I have always done, work to keep the promises uh, that I've made, and have done a good job of that. And keep an eye on my whole ward, which really hugs the watershed and covers communities in both Alameda and Contra Costa County. But I think of myself as serving the entire district, not just whatever piece of it that I have. And I will continue to do that. So I look forward to serving 4 more years. I be grateful for the endorsement of your clubs as well as the Democratic Party in Contra Costa County.